Everything is different tonight. Andrew Kashner, the start here at Petco Park. All of us honoring the loss of the legend, Tony Gwynn. His team, his club, the San Diego State University Aztecs, ringing the bell before the game. Number 19, all over this field, all over this city, all over our hearts. We miss you, Tony. And there is no question things will never be the same. It's Mark Sweeney, Mike Pomeranz with you as Mark Grant, Dick Enberg off this evening. Number 19 behind the plate. A number 19 in the right field grass as well. And special hats being worn by the Padres tonight. Batting practice caps with the number 19 on them. In addition to tonight's ceremonies, there will be a memorial service free to the public next Thursday. It's June 26th at 7:19. That's 19:19 military time. It'll be here at Petco Park. The event certainly to celebrate Tony's legendary life, all of his remarkable accomplishments, contributions to the game, to all of us, to the city of San Diego. The gates open at 5:30 in the evening. We certainly hope you'll be able to join us for that. Again, that is next Thursday. Tonight, though, jerseys hanging in the dugouts. All the players been mindful of the anticipation of tonight's event for a couple of days since we learned of Tony's passing on Monday. And Andrew Kashner and the Padres get baseball underway here on this challenging Wednesday evening. Endy Chavez, James Jones, Robinson Cano. And Chavez gets things going for the Mariners with a base hit. For the Mariners tonight, their lineup, Lloyd McClendon's team, Endy Chavez, as you saw there, leading off. James Jones, the center fielder, will bat second. Robinson Cano hits third. Kyle Seager, Logan Morrison, Mike Zunino, Dustin Ackley, Brad Miller, and the pitcher, the Cy Young winner, Felix Hernandez. It's brought to you by Mattress Discounters. So with Chavez aboard, here's James Jones.
Here's a scouting report by Jaguar of San Diego for Andrew Kashner. Emotional start. We're all emotional tonight, and he is at full strength. Why not? Full complement of pitches tonight for Andrew Kashner.
Well, just a remarkable feel as we welcome you to Wednesday Night Baseball. This stadium, the park at the park, has been filled with fans paying their respects to Tony since Monday, and you can just feel the heavy emotion in the ballpark tonight.
Mike, such a weird night, such a weird week for a lot of us, for everybody around San Diego. And then to start this game off, Endy Chavez goes 5.5 hole. Very odd. But I think Tony would have definitely wanted everyone to move past these emotions and go out there, battle, and do your best out in the field.
Ball, 2 strikes, and fouled away. You had the distinct pleasure and honor of being a teammate of his, and I just got to know him in the last couple of years here in the broadcast booth, and it just, you hear his laugh like it's right behind you.
Yep, it's always going to be there. It's always going to be there for a lot of us, and you're right, Mike. It was an honor to be in the same uniform and to watch him at his craft, to be taught life lessons. He's a remarkable man that we're always going to remember.
Jones out on strikes. 1 out for the Padres and Andrew Kashner. Behind Andrew tonight, Carlos Quentin gets the start in left field. Kristen Orfia is in center field. Seth Smith by the 19. Tony Gwynn's ground in right. Headley, Cabrera, Amarista, Grandal, and Rene Rivera catches Andrew Kashner. Brought to you by the Aramco Group this evening.
You can see Yasmani Grandal getting the start at first base.
Yonder Alonso out tonight. Bit of a wrist problem, we're told. So Grandal gets the start. Now, the Mariners have been playing much better baseball as of late. They are 6 games back in the American League West, 37-34, and a lot of it credited to Robinson Cano. Cano riding an 18-game road hitting streak. That's the longest this season in the big leagues. And last night, yesterday's ballgame in Seattle. Remember, this is a 2-2 series, 2 there, 2 here. It was a 6-1 Seattle win. Cano pulled one out of the ballpark, just his 4th of the year.
Yeah, and that's surprising because coming over here in Seattle, tough place to hit home runs. But Robinson Cano was here to do what Ken Griffey did in that Seattle Mariners uniform.
2-0, off goes Chavez. The throw down from Rivera. Looks like it's in plenty of time, and Dan Iasonia says it is. Chavez gone 2 down here in the first.
Well, this is an absolute cannon shot by Rene Rivera. Comes out firing, and you can see Everth Cabrera tries to put the tag on.
Now Lloyd McClendon going out there to talk it over with Iasonia. He might have a case right here. He'll buy himself some time as his replay coaches kick it around in the Mariners dugout.
Well, it causes me to be concerned about this tag play. You can see Everth Cabrera. He understands he misses him on the first try and tries to keep the tag on him. What a slide by Endy Chavez.
Well, that looked like a no-brainer right there. The throw from Rivera in plenty of time. And Lloyd McClendon is going to challenge it. McClendon, just his first year as big league manager with the Mariners. Was a manager of the Pittsburgh Pirates from 2001 to 2005.
Well, that second look that we saw looked like that tag was not applied, and it was a great slide by Chavez.
Pretty good wheels, 36 years old. Endy Chavez still gets it going. Rivera thrown out nearly 30% of the runners who tried to go against him. Remember, the decision made at the New York headquarters. They'll look at a dozen different angles. Umpires on the field just waiting for that decision to be rendered. They'll no longer have a hand in it.
Well, this is the best look right here. You can see Everth Cabrera just putting that glove down. Now, most of those base stealers are going to slide to that outside, the outfield slide of the bag. And for Everth Cabrera taking that throw in front, this was an outstanding throw by Rivera. But not applying that tag early, and you can see him trying to get. This is the best look, I think. As you can see, Chavez trying to manipulate his body away from that tag.
Man, that's close. That is so close. Looked like he had no shot to beat it.
Well, it has to be clear and convincing evidence to overturn the call.
Remember, the call on the field is that Chavez is out. Call will either be confirmed, it will stand, or it will be overturned.
Well, with the length of time, Andrew Kastner has to keep that arm loose. Remember, this is only his 3rd start coming back off the disabled list. He wants to keep that arm fresh.
That's a great point. Just his 12th start this season. ERA has been fantastic for Cashner. The problem for Andrew has been run support.
Well, I think this is the concerns of Major League Baseball moving forward, and this process is going to be tweaked.
So Chavez out even after the review. The call stands, so that means there is no clear and convincing evidence to the contrary. So now there are 2 out, nobody on for Cano. Here's the 3-0.
And that was a pretty important out, because if you look at Robinson Cano, and he has been swinging the bat very well coming into this game, 327. It's a huge out.
And Cano draws a walk. Now, to your point, the league going to definitely try to expedite these reviews going forward. And Andrew Cashner unable to retire Cano. So another runner on for Kyle Seager. Seager 261, 10 home runs in 68 games. Leads the Mariners in home runs and RBIs.
Well, for Cashner, that two-seam success right there, that pitch, controlling that on both edges is going to be very important. How many times he throws his changeup. Get to that 2-strike situation where you have that 4-seamer to go with. There's that changeup.
Off speed again from Cashner. 2 balls and a strike. Cashner been comfortable here. Petco 2-2. ERA of 1.41 at home. Center field. Denorfia and Quinton. It'll be Denorfia. A hit, a walk, nothing across for the Mariners as we head to the home half of the first inning. Andrew Cashner and the Padres as we honor the passing of the legend, Tony Gwynn. Memorabilia continue to pile at the feet of the late Hall of Famer Tony Gwynn, passing away on Monday at the age of 54. Team finally back home after some time on the road. Earlier today, Padres shortstop Everth Cabrera taking some moments. It's been so tough on this club, this organization, the entire city over the last few days. And as I mentioned, team finally back in town. And for Everett and everybody in a Padre uniform, just a chance to say thank you, and we will miss you.
A classy move by Everett Cabrera. It's a no-brainer for me. Go out there and honor that statue, honor the man, honor what he brought to this city in the game of baseball.
Seth Smith, Chris Denorfia, Carlos Quentin lead off the home half of the first against Felix Hernandez. Two games on the road against the Mariners. Didn't go the Padres' way. Lost the first one 5-1. Yesterday 6-1. A 1-7 road trip. And Smith gets things started. Base hit. Right alongside that number 19 in right field.
Yeah, and you got to love that. Seth Smith gets down 0-2. He gets a fastball 0-2 that really was a mistake for Hernandez. When he elevates, it flattens out. Seth Smith knows that. He's faced him a lot of times, 19 times coming into this game. Right by number 19.
So a leadoff single for the Mariners by Andy Chavez in the 5.5 hole, and the Padres answer with a base hit into right field by the number 19.
Well, for the Padres tonight, taking their opportunities and taking some chances. Come out. This is a bona fide ace, so you have to go out there, take some chances on the base pass, look for balls in the dirt. Also possibly bunting, hitting and running.
For Buddy Black tonight, after Chris Denorfia, Carlos Quentin hitting third, Chase Headley, Osmani Grandal, Rene Rivera, Everth Cabrera, Alexi Amarista, and the pitcher Andrew Kashner. Brought to you tonight by Toyota. Felix Hernandez, 8-2 on the year, has never lost at Petco.
Well, let's take a look at the scouting report from this 28-year-old from Venezuela. Multiple ways for K's. He has out pitches with his fastball, curveball, and his changeup. And also, this is a frontline guy, actually top 5 in Major League Baseball. Cy Young Award winner in 2010. Padres have to attack him tonight.
1-2 to Denorfia, and he's down on strikes. Behind King Felix this evening, Ackley, Jones, Chavez in the outfield, Seager, Miller, Cano, Morrison around the horn, and Mike Zunino catches Felix Hernandez. Brought to you by Honda. Pitching and defense has kept the Mariners in it so far this season. Offense a little bit slow. An all too familiar refrain. One out. Here's Carlos Quentin.
Well, early in this game, Hernandez has given them some breaking balls to hit. Anytime he's around his knees with the fastball and then that changeup off of that, he can be very difficult and rack up strikeouts. But you have to capitalize on mistakes and be careful of those foul balls in the strike zone.
And Hernandez misses down low. 1 ball, 1 strike. Buddy Black and Dave Roberts over his shoulder. Both men so profoundly affected by their relationship with Tony Gwynn. Former teammate with Buddy Black of Tony Gwynn at San Diego State. Ball, 2 strikes to Quentin. Carlos 2 for 7 in this Seattle series.
Well, Mike, you talked about Dave Roberts growing up here in San Diego, what he meant, Tony meant to Dave Roberts' career, motivating him to go away from football, play baseball. Had a lot of communication with Tony. Thought the world of that, and he made a huge impact on his career. For those young kids out there that watch Tony play, now they're young adults. impacted a lot of lives.
Quinton down on strikes. 2 down here in the first.
Well, here's the keys to the game by 100 dealers of San Diego County. No extra outs on defense. Heard him yesterday's game, and 19 reasons to play well today. It's an emotional game. Use it to your advantage. Go out there with a different purpose.
Well, the guys so want to turn this thing around, and you know if Tony were here, he'd be rooting them on as hard as ever. We talk about when he's up in the booth with us, they can hear him, come on, guys, come on. And you tell me stories all the time you do about just the way he saw the game, how he saw at bats, what he saw from pitchers. And sometimes not the easiest thing to translate to the mortal.
No, the elite players definitely have an understanding of how to slow the game down. He had an amazing ability to not only do that, but to teach it as well. He was a good teacher. He talked about the basics. Constantly hear him palm up, palm down with the hitting. But man, he flourished when the times were tough in the big games. That's what I love, and I marveled about the ability in this game, the elite players. Well, Tony could do that with ease. Those left-handed specialists, it was almost laughable when they brought him into the games. He flourished in those situations.
Ball to strike, Chase Headley. Hernandez behind now, 2-1. Coming up, we're going to talk to a dear friend of Tony's and a man you know well, former hitting coach of the Padres, a Padres player as well, Herb Rettman.
Yeah, what a great hitting coach. Had a lot of laughs. He spent a lot of time with Tony, and can't wait to hear his words. Take a look at Felix Hernandez and the drive that he has with his lower half, and it's the arm speed. To me, you could see the torque on that arm, but the ability to throw strikes with that much velocity on all of his pitch. The arm speed is what everyone talks about, especially on that changeup. You'll see 89, 90 miles an hour. That's the changeup from him. He can reach back and throw mid-90s to upper 90s with a fastball. See the percentages there. Fastball with 46%, and he'll change speeds with that. He'll change speeds with the changeup, the curveball, and the slider. But those elite pitchers understand how to mixing and match, pull back when they have to, and reach back when they need that four-seam success.
Well, it certainly wouldn't hurt the Padres to try to ramp up his pitch count. 18 pitches now thrown, 12 of them strikes. You might remember last season, late May, Hernandez Cashner matched up. Mariners got the better of that one.
You can see right there, 90 miles an hour on the changeup. It's a lot of people's fastball in the big leagues, but it's arm speed. It's off of that fastball, and it has movement to go along with that.
Sometimes hard to believe this is his 10th season in the big leagues. Hernandez come up as a teenager. Unbelievable career. Full count. And strike 3. Headley knew it. So Hernandez, after giving up the single to Smith, strikes out DeNorfia, Quinton, and Headley. Were scoreless after one as we remember the legend on the field for 20 years, in our hearts forever. Welcome after one here at Petco. On a night we pay tribute to the late Tony Gwynn. Passed away at the young age of just 54. Found out on Monday, and the team is on the road. First night back here at Petco. Joining us on the phone tonight, former hitting coach from 91 to 99 with the Padres, Merv Retman. And Merv, terribly difficult time for everybody in this organization, everybody in this city, pretty much everyone throughout baseball. Your reaction when you heard the news on Monday?
Well, Mike, I got back into the country Monday night, and I got home about 11 or 12 o'clock at night, and I looked at my phone, and it was lit up, and I knew something was wrong. I don't usually have that many calls on my phone. And when I heard that, I mean, it's tragic because not only what type of player he was, what type of person, and his ability to help people, and what he meant to so many people. And, I mean, he was just a special guy. And I don't know if San Diego will ever have a baseball player quite like that again. They only come around once in a lifetime, I think. And, boy, he was special.
Yeah, Merv, he brought a lot of joy to a lot of our lives, and I know he put a smile on your face a lot. 1998, a home run in New York. He talks about that as being one of his biggest moments. Tell us a little bit about that.
You know who the pitcher was?
Yeah, David Wells.
That's exactly right. And I'll tell you, that year we had the opportunity to play the Yankees in San Diego at the end of spring training. They came through here because they were opening up on the coast. And it was raining, and we had to get the game in. And David Wells dropped down and threw a fastball in and really burned Tony. And I'd never seen him have trouble with an inside pitch, but he did that night. And we went to New York, and I'll remember that because I was wired for that game, and I always hated that because it made you feel like you had to talk and say something smart. Yeah. And I'm watching the game, and the catcher moved inside, and I said, up top. And I'll never forget it. And up top means downtown, you know what I mean, home run.
Yes, exactly right.
And, man, he fired that son of a gun right at him, and it probably, maybe it would have hit him if he didn't hit it. But you don't do the same thing twice to Tony Gwynn. And I had no concern, and we should have won the darn ball game. But he hit the inside pitch as good as anyone. Everyone always said that if you handle outside like he does, you can handle inside, and he proved the point.
Murph, you know what? He could do everything with the bat, and it was a magical wand. But he was also a perfectionist, wasn't he? And he didn't take a lot of swings.
That was exactly right, Mark. He would hit every day, and I said this before, but I don't remember the year, but we went down to the stadium, and we were hitting upstairs at Qualcomm, and we hit every day for 1 year straight. And not a lot, but we would hit every day all winter long, all season long. We would take the other team's hitting time if it was a Sunday day game and they didn't hit on the field. And on occasion, we would hit twice a day during spring training. Once at 6:30 in the evening for players that were invited, and boy, he had to be invited. That's the type of player he was. He worked on his skill. He worked on the timing. Everybody talks about the mechanics of a swing, but it doesn't work unless you have good timing. And, Mark, you said something tonight, elite players. They have the ability to slow it down, and is that ever exact? And that's because they don't swing harder than the pitch. They swing softer than the pitch. And if you watch this game tonight, everybody's going to try to swing harder than the pitchers, and there's going to be a lot of strikeouts.
Now, Merv Retman is our guest, the hitting coach of the Padres, with Tony Gwynn from 91 to 99. Mariners right now, runners at the quarters. Mike Zunino was hit by a pitch. He was singled over to third base by Dustin Ackley with one out. Here's Brad Miller. Merv, you have a 13-year Major League career as a player. Orioles, Reds, Padres, Angels. Won a couple of World Series as a player, one as a coach. Come in as a heavyweight hitting coach. But you got to wonder, who did all the teaching? Tony Gwynn teach you, or did you teach Tony?
Well, I'll tell you, I think Alicia helped both of us. Really and truly. I was thinking about that the other day. I was fortunate to be the hitting coach of the Padres. And was I really the hitting coach? I mean, Tony had a carryover just by the way he would take batting practice. We used to line up. I'd have the players watch his button on top of his head. Mark would understand that. And when he would swing, the button would just stay in one spot, and his head would be down. We could see the button on his helmet after the swing, just like when you field a ground ball. And the players had to watch him because he did it right. You practice perfect, and he did.
You know, Merv, the one question and thing that amazed me is we took early batting practice. We get 10 swings each, and he'd walk out with 3 or 4 after he threw out 4 line drives. Why was that?
I think it's preparation. He knew what he wanted to get, and he knew if the swing was good. And he had an ability to trust his swing. And he knew if it was good, and he knew what he had to do. And a lot of elite players would come out for BP, and they don't have to take a lot. They would hit a few balls the other way, and they were prepared and ready to go. He could prepare watching video.
Merv, we know it's been a very tough time for you, so we more than appreciate your willingness to spend a few moments with us tonight.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's always a pleasure, and it was a pleasure for 10 years to walk in the locker room and ask him if he was feeling good or real good when he had an ice bag on his knee and you know it was neither. And to listen to that smile and his laugh. But anyway, thank you for having me on.
Merv, it's absolutely our honor. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanch, Merv.
Merv Retman.
Later, Mark. Later, Mike.
Take care, Merv. Merv Retman. Well, you talk about a man who knows the signs of hitting. Merv Retman clearly is one of your favorite hitting coaches, and ended up work with Tony Gwynn.
Yeah, just the relationship, Mike, that they had, the trust factor. Tony relied a lot on another pair of eyes, and Merv, it was exactly that for a lot of us, but very important to have it for Tony Gwynn. And you know, that relationship sometimes it can go either direction. And Tony helped Merv a lot, and Merv every single day up the elevator into the dungeon in Qualcomm Stadium to work. And that's exactly what he did as a hitting coach. And Tony put the product out there, and we knew we had to match that effort as well as teammates.
2 outs, 2 on. Top of the order for the Mariners, Endy Chavez. Bouncing ball, second base, Amarista. And Chavez is retired. The Mariners pick up 1 on a couple of hits. They lead 1-0 on the night. We honor the legend, Mr. Padre, Tony Gwynn. Messages really say it all. Thank you for the memories, Tony Gwynn. Truly one of the greats of the game. And a reminder, as we honor Tony tonight, there is a free public memorial. It'll be held here at Petco next Thursday. The team's off that day. Start time is 7:19. Military time, that's 19:19. And the number 19 all around the ballpark tonight, behind home plate, in right field. And as always, highlighted the spotlight in center field, the number retired. 1-0 ball game here, bottom of the second, as you see those retired numbers. Lit up tonight, number 19. Hope you're able to join us for that memorial. Again, that's next Thursday at 7:19. The gates are going to open at 5:30.
And that's going to be packed. And why not?
Just a note, if you're going to be driving to Petco, parking is free in 3 locations. A couple along Imperial, southeast side of Petco, and Padres Parkade Garage on 10th and J.
There's a lot of pride out there. A lot of heavy hearts. A lot of messages that I've had around town about Tony. Some of the stories we hear.
Randall out to left field. Ackley on the track, 1 down. It's amazing from all of our ends what we hear, but I would imagine for you, being part of the team in '98 and knowing Tony as well as you do, it was extraordinary stories, I'm sure.
You know, Mike, we had a lot of special personalities on that team, a melting pot of personalities, and Tony took a back seat and just added laughter because we had so much fun together. We were winning on the field. He enjoyed every minute of it. And you know what? It was awesome to hear so many people talk about his laughter, his smile. And then he went out there and raked. And honestly, you know, we marveled at that, but we also didn't want to treat him like a different guy. We wanted to go out there, and it was so special about our team. Everyone was on the same level, and we knew that wasn't the case. But we made it that way. It was that atmosphere that we created. And man, did he have fun.
I heard an interview with Trevor Hoffman the other day talking about the impact that Tony Gwynn had on him. And I think fans have all become familiar with the way Tony Gwynn and then Trevor Hoffman would answer the media's questions, regardless of how the team played that night, and was able to just represent the organization so well for 2 decades. Extraordinary. Rivera down on strikes, 2 down here in the bottom of the second.
Well, Mike, you know what? To that point, so many people don't understand. I came to the field and I talked to the media maybe a handful of times in a year. But I got to just go out there and play and perform. Well, they had to do that. They had to answer the questions. They had to spend a lot of time with the fans and sign autographs. It was a full-time job, and they embraced it. I'm not saying it as a negative. They embraced it, and those elite players that talked about earlier know how to handle that, and you learn those lessons from those guys. And I put Tony Gwynn and Trevor Hoffman in that elite category, but it's good to hear Trevor Hoffman say that's what he learned from Tony, because he had so many different messages, and you didn't even have to ask him a question. It was just that message and how to treat fans was really very impactful for me.
Nice leaping play by the shortstop, Brad Miller. Padres down in order here in the bottom of the second inning. Mariners lead 1-0 and get some good defense behind Felix Hernandez tonight. Fans continuing to pay tribute to the Tony Gwynn statue at the park, just outside the right center field wall here at Petco. Flowers, memorabilia, balloons, fans. Everybody's shaken by the news earlier this week that 54-year-old Tony Gwynn had passed away. Mark Sweeney and Mike Pomeranz with you. Special guest Dwight Freeney, outside linebacker of the San Diego Chargers, formerly of the Indianapolis Colts. And shocking week, I think, for a lot of us. And it's just stunning the sports world. I know you're a football player, but I know a fan of the game as well.
No, absolutely. I mean, I just remember the type of player Tony was. I grew up a Mets fan, and Tony used to scorch us. That left-handed, just consistent swing. Always batting over 300. He was really a model of just consistency and how you should play the game, and definitely, being here in San Diego, come to find out he was huge in the community.
Dwight, you also played in Indianapolis. You played with Peyton Manning, an impactful guy both in the community and on the field. That's what Tony was, wasn't it? It's one of those guys that you don't play with too many guys like that, but it's pretty important for the community as well.
No, absolutely. I mean, that's what it's about. God has kind of blessed you to be in that position to give back to the community. And, it's always been a part of, my situation, our lives as athletes, definitely in Indianapolis, now here in San Diego, and just trying to follow the footsteps of guys like Tony Gwynn.
I'm going to talk about what you're up to in a moment as we check out this play. This is James Jones hustling down the line. Rene Rivera, I can hit him in the back of the helmet, and he'll be escorted off the field by his manager, Lloyd McClendon, and the trainer. They'll have a man on, and you're busy, I know, with the After School All-Stars program, and that's a program, I think, in and of itself that does so much to help kids stay out of trouble, give them a healthy option. Tony's foundation been involved with it. You now involved with it for some time. Why does that organization mean so much to you?
It definitely means a lot because, it keeps kids, off the street. It keeps them doing the things that, can help them be successful in life and just, putting together comprehensive programming for them, just fun things that they can learn to better them in life. We affect about 3,500 kids, in about 20 schools.
So Jones, the first out there, retired from being in the baseline, and Robinson Cano now the second out. You've got a fundraiser coming up, and hopefully this will help a lot of kids. It'll also be a lot of fun at the very same time. And dodgeball, a game that when I was a kid, everybody used to play it, and it seemed like it wasn't in favor in school anymore.
Yeah.
Right? You had to be careful. But now it's back for grown-ups. It's going to be on Saturday, and you get to do it in costume. Tell us about the event a little bit, Dwight.
Man, it's an amazing event. It's something that I've always wanted to do. Being able to play dodgeball. I mean, when I was in middle school, it was the sport.
Yeah.
There was nothing else. It was just dodgeball and maybe basketball or something like that. And when I entered high school, it was gone. And just to be able to kind of reconnect to that youth, and a game that anybody can play. It's going to be an amazing event, man. And all of this stuff goes back to helping these kids, and creating events for them to do after school, to keep them out of trouble. So it's a good cause, and we're going to have good fun with it.
Well, with your injury, are you able to get involved with the dodgeball?
Absolutely.
Nice. Sweet.
Forget about the football season, guys. Dodgeball right now is more important.
Well, that quad injury you suffered early in the season last year, I think a lot of folks anxious to see on the field. I'm sure you are too. Remember, that is Saturday, June 21st. Chance to help out some kids. The After School All-Star Program. Dwight Freeney, always a pleasure.
Hey, man, thanks for having me.
Thanks,
Great
Dwight.
to see you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Great to see you. 1-0 ball game on a night we honor Tony Gwynn. The Mariners currently leading.
in any count whenever he wants to. And those pitches aren't, your standard fastball, changeup. They're plus pitches. Everything he throws up there would be hard to hit if you knew it was coming, but it makes it tougher when you have no idea what he's going to throw. He's really good. He can throw any pitch he has in any count whenever he wants to. And those pitches aren't, your standard fastball, changeup. They're plus pitches. Everything he throws up there would be hard to hit if you knew it was coming, but it makes it tougher when you have no idea what he's going to throw.
And that was your Geico quote of the game. I also talked to Bud Black earlier about the Padres facing Felix Hernandez, and he said he's good. He's good at keeping the ball down, and when he's on, he's definitely tough. And Mark Sweeney, like you were saying earlier, right now the Padres have to capitalize on his mistakes.
Exactly, Kate. Those balls over the middle of the plate, as you see Alexi Amarista ground out to second base. Coming into this game, 106 and a third innings, 112 strikeouts, only 19 walks.
Power stuff with command. Unbelievable. 8-2 is his record, his best start ever. Now in his 10th big league season. In June, Mark, he's 1-1 in 3 starts. His last time out, though, he took a loss to Texas. No score through the first 8 of this one. He lost 1-0.
Yeah, Fernando Rodney ended up giving up that run with a double play that did not end up getting turned, and that was the loss for Felix Hernandez. See Ron Fowler and John Boggs, the agent for Tony Gwynn, a wonderful man on the right.
Hopefully Mr. Fowler a chance to join us maybe a little bit later on in the ball game and talk a bit more about the plans for next Thursday at Petco at 7:19, the memorial tribute to Tony Gwynn. Team off that day. Hope you're able to get down to the ballpark. Gates will open at 5:30.
Well, I like that opportunity by Cashner trying to lay down that bunt for a hit. He can run. You have to try to create things with Felix Hernandez. He is not unbeatable. We marvel at his stuff. We understand his stuff. But the Padres last year beat Clayton Kershaw 3 times. That is, in my estimation, is one of the best pitchers in the game of baseball.
Now, the Padres had made it tough on a few aces, but Cashner down on strikes. 5th strikeout tonight for Felix Hernandez. Active pitchers, Kershaw, Wainwright. There you see Hernandez. Lowest earned run averages among those who are active with a minimum of 1,000 innings pitched.
Well, that's consistency right there.
First of all, just throwing 1,000 innings.
Yeah, exactly right.
Is impressive.
Well, I like this move too. Bud Black did, inserting Seth Smith in the leadoff position. People might raise some eyebrows and say why. Well, Seth Smith has familiarity against Felix Hernandez and get the most at bats against him. Had that line drive single in the first.
Also, Mark, I think just his on-base percentage with a team that has struggled so, as you check out his career numbers versus Hernandez, .350, 7 for 20, but his on-base percentage this year, .395. And when you consider the big league average is right around .320.
Well, you know what you love and you like about Seth Smith is he picks out a plan that he wants to attack in every single pitcher, and he executes it night in and night out. That doesn't necessarily translate into hits, but it gives you those at bats. And we always preach of of having a plan when you step in the batter's box. And that leads to that on-base percentage. You can't hit every pitch of Felix Hernandez.
He is filthy. The throw down from Zunino is in time to retire Smith. So 6 strikeouts now for Felix Hernandez as he protects a 1-0 Mariners lead. The fans missing our Tony Gwynn. One nothing Seattle here at the top of the 4th inning. The eyes of Tony Gwynn watching over all the fans who are paying tribute today. Well, it's now time for you to tweet your photo using hashtag SDFanPhoto. A chance to have it shown in an upcoming game broadcast. It's brought to you by AT&T. Fans have sent in so many photos over the last couple of days. Really appreciate that. As Logan Morrison out to left field on the track, and Carlos Quentin will put it away. 1 down here in the top of the 4th.
A good break by Carlos Quentin on that baseball. Coming off that left-handed bat that slices towards the line. That ball tough when it goes over your head, but always goes to that foul line.
One down. Here's the Mariners catcher, Mike Zunino. Now Lloyd McClendon's team needed Mike Zunino because their original catcher plan of the future just did not pan out. Hey, Jesus Montero came over from the Yankees, big time prospect, couldn't get it together behind the plate, went down to the minors. Montero now back with the big club as a first baseman, but Zunino is the regular catcher as he singles to left field. Oh, with 1 out, just a reminder, I want you to grab your best costume. Be an all-star competitor in the Fox Sports San Diego Dodgeball Tournament. It benefits after-school all-stars. It's this Saturday, June 21st. You heard Dwight Freeney of the Chargers talking about it a moment ago. Frankie V from Channel 933 is going to be there as well as Dwight. Raise some money for a great cause, so don't wait. Time's running out to sign up. You can visit foxsportssandiego.com if you'd like some details.
I tell you what, Mike, I hope I'm on Dwight Freeney's team and not against him. That was a big human.
He is a mountain of a man.
And you know what? He looked right at me. He said, "I'm going to bring it this year." The Charger fans, get ready, because he has a motor on him. I'm telling you, and fun to watch play the game. Obviously went through that quad injury last year.
Again out to left field. Ackley to Quentin, 2 down. Yeah, I asked him about it when he was a guest on SD Live about the move to outside linebacker from defensive end with Indianapolis. He used your word. or phrase I should say, just more opportunities. Just more opportunities.
Yeah, that's a football player. And that means it's very different than he's a baseball player. There's a difference.
Boy, describing what he went through to rehabilitate that torn quadricep he suffered last season against the Cowboys. That's a new level of tough.
Yeah. Well, I know Coach McCoy over in San Diego Chargers, and a lot of them getting ready for training camp. They're very excited.
Coming off the playoff season. Brad Miller, Mariners shortstop. Miller, the RBI single. That's all the scored so far in this one. 1-0 Seattle. Tough play. DeNorfia bounces away just enough for Zunino. He was off on contact with 2 outs, scramble over to third base. So Miller has his second hit tonight.
You know, my credit to Chris DeNorfia for being very aggressive on this. This ball was hit very well off Miller's bat. You can watch Chris DeNorfia. This is a tough play for the center fielder coming right at you. And he thought it was going to stay up, and he puts his body in front of it and takes that throw. Yes, it's first and third, but very aggressive play by Chris DeNorfia. Keep the ball in front. I thought he did a nice job on that. He thought it was going to actually stay up a little bit and had an opportunity to catch that ball.
Here's the pitcher, Felix Hernandez. So the single by Miller, the error by DeNorfia. First and third. Bouncing ball right at the first baseman. Grandal take it himself. That will do it for Seattle. In the top of the fourth inning, the Mariners lead 1-0. Chris DeNorfia, Carlos Quentin, Chase Headley to face Felix Hernandez when we come back in the home half of the fourth inning.
Look at Felix Hernandez throwing the ball down at the knees. And if we take a line right there, you can see everything working on that plane right at the knees and down. The movement that really disrupts hitters. They want to try to elevate him so much. It looks good out of the hands, and you can see the breaking balls and everything else to go along with that. This is a bona fide ace that knows how to work down in the strike zone and change eye levels at times. But, man, is that difficult challenge for the Padres. They need to try to figure him out.
So far, just the one hit allowed by Hernandez. He struck out 6. And of all the major league pitchers, the leaderboard, most strikeouts in 2009, Hernandez below only Justin Verlander, our Sequan Casino Daycation strikeout stat of the ball game. 19 is the number of the night. It'll be the number for the season, and it is certainly the number for the ages. Honoring Tony Gwynn this evening. And we'll do so again with a memorial service next Thursday here at Petco. The team an off day. Hope you're able to join us. The gates will open at 5:30 in the evening. Service at 7:19. Kristen Orfia to the second baseman Cano. One down. You get a chance to come by next Thursday. It is free. Celebrate Tony's legendary life, his accomplishments, contributions to the team, the city, and all of baseball. As I mentioned, the gates open at 5:30. And there are 3 free parking lots. A couple of lots along Imperial, the C lot, tailgate lot. As Quinton is retired, second out here in the bottom of the 4th. And also the Padres Parkade Garage, 10th Avenue and J Street.
Well, Mike, you can see the statue out there, and we had the privilege of having our set out there and being able to have some conversations together. And what a beautiful statue that is. And we did not take it for granted when we were out there spending some time and thinking about all those wonderful moments Tony had. I marveled at his work, and that is a picture-perfect swing, and that's what I have a visual of his swing, and I saw it from both the visitor's side and also in that same uniform.
San Diego clearly knows him so well, this organization, you yourself, and my limited experience. True honor. True honor. And his humility, he would leave you dumbstruck.
Yeah.
You know, he would fill in, or come up into the booth and broadcast. He'd join us on a conference call in the morning, and one day he gets on and he says, "Hey, can I get a media credential?" And we're laughing, thinking, you're kidding, right? And he's like, no, I'm serious. I can't seem to get into the ballpark every time I need to. And I said to him, well, maybe you just tell him that statue out there. How's that for a media credential?
That's a good credential.
But his humility was stunning.
Yeah, it really was.
And down goes Headley, second time tonight. Hernandez retired now 12 in a row as the Mariners lead 1-0. San Diego presents Padres baseball tonight by Aramco Group. Purchase, refinance, reverse, and visit us at aramco.biz. By Petco, the power of together. by your San Diego Lexus dealer, and by Southwest Airlines. Find Southwest Airlines fares online only at southwest.com. Everybody honoring Tony Gwynn in their own way tonight. The end goes out.
Yeah, I got it picked up.
Swings will hook you up. Mark Sweeney gets the assist.
Why not?
Watching people out there at that statue at the Park in the Park for the last few days. So moving.
Now, there they go. No help needed. Thank you, guys. It's a great tribute.
And it is. Endy Chavez to lead things off here in the top of the 5th inning against Andrew Cashner. Chavez 1 for 2, a single in the first inning. 36-year-old hitting .231 on the season. Cabrera the backhand, long throw. In time, and Chavez is retired, 1 down here in the 5th. James Jones hit the back last time up. Play went 2-3. We'll check out his Southwest Airlines spray chart, Mark.
Yeah, and you know what? Like using the middle of the field, and I like that. A lot of people talk about Juan Pierre with James Jones. I see a little bit of Mike Cameron in him as well, obviously from the left side. That's a good mixture, and Mike Cameron played probably part of his best ball in a Seattle Mariners uniform. Former Padre, former Seattle Mariner, former White Sox, Cincinnati Reds.
Jones at .291, second among American League rookies. Brock Holt, he's burst on the scene in Boston. But as you mentioned it, Jones being likened to Juan Pierre by a lot of people in baseball, at least of which his manager, Lloyd McClendon. Jones is 6'4", 200-pounder.
Well, Juan Pierre could spray the ball all over the place and get plenty of hits, be a menace on the base paths. You get a guy at the top of the order that can have an impact like that. That can change a game.
Here's the 1-2. Hit well and right at the right fielder, Seth Smith. He'll tuck it away, 2 down.
We're seeing Andrew Cashner incorporate that slider in his repertoire. That was the pitch that gave him problems and most likely put him on the disabled list. Gave him the most soreness, but you could see Andrew Cashner has definitely settled into this game.
Robinson Cano, 31 years old, first year in a Mariners uniform.
You can see Andrew Cashner with the fastball this season, 73%, and I think a lot of that has to do with getting away from that four-seamer and go two-seam fastball. That slider success and the evolving changeup.
0-2 now to the five-time All-Star, Cano.
Well, that's a big arm for Cashner.
The 0-2 out to left field. Tough play as Quinton starts back then in and takes the safe route, plays it in front of him on a hop. So Cano reaches with a 2-out base hit.
Let's take a look at Robinson Cano's swing. When he gets his foot down, that head stays right on the baseball. And he pulls his hands inside. A really good pitch by Andrew Cashner. And when you pull your hands inside, you get the barrel to the baseball. You can hit that opposite field hard line drive.
Cano now with a 19-game road hitting streak. Longest in the big leagues this year. Here's Kyle Seager. Flied out in the first, struck out in the third. Kind of interesting to see Cano in a Mariners uniform, and we think Ichiro in the Mariners. He now in a Yankees uniform. He happens to hold the road hitting streak record for the Mariners at 28 games. As I mentioned, Cano now at 19.
Yeah, I was actually shocked. One of those guys that when Robinson Cano signed with the Seattle Mariners, I was actually surprised. I think a determining factor, obviously the money had a lot to do with it. But I think the determining factor is Robinson Cano wanted to be the man. In New York, he was not the man. Derek Jeter was and is that guy when he's in that uniform. But Robinson wanted to take over those reins, and he has done that in the Seattle uniform and done it very well to this point.
It's all the more impressive how Tony Gwynn was able to go 20 years in one uniform. And the state of the game such that it's increasingly more challenging. These free agents get big offers. Tony certainly had his share. Out in center field, back goes Denorfia. Just in front of the track, he'll put it away, and Seager's retired. Third out in the fifth. Toss up into the stands where we're all remembering the legend, Tony Gwynn. Gwynn continue to grow since the tragic news on Monday that Tony had left us far too soon at the age of 54. And there'll be a tribute next Thursday, June 26th at 7:19 military time. That's 1919. It is a free public memorial tribute here at Petco. We're going to celebrate Tony's life, all of his accomplishments, everything he did for the team, for the city, for all of baseball for that matter. And the gates do open at 5:30. Hope you are able to join us here. Bottom of the fifth inning. Padres trail 1-0. Felix Hernandez for the Mariners, facing Yasmani Grandal, Rene Rivera, Everett Cabrera, Mark Sweeney, Mike Pomeranz, joined by Ron Fowler, the owners. And just looking at that statue over the last few days, Ron, it's been incredibly moving.
It has been. It exceeded my expectations, but I knew it would be crowded. But it's just an outpouring for Tony that's well deserved, and just reinforces how important he was to the community.
You know, Ron, this was a punch in the gut for the community of San Diego, and you know, where does the organization go from here, and what are they planning moving forward?
Well, first of all, we'll have the memorial service, or I prefer to call it a celebration of life, on the 26th, and we're in discussions now as to what other things are appropriate to honor him throughout the year. Obviously, the patch on the uniform and things like that will be part and parcel of what we do. But he is the Padre, Mr. Padre, and we want to acknowledge him in the appropriate manner.
Ron, I think we'd all been following Tony as closely as we could and knew his health was declining. He'd been facing some challenges, and Mark said it really was a punch in the gut to get the news on Monday. When you found out, what was your initial reaction, and how did you hear?
Well, actually, I was having some tests at a doctor's office, and I had a break, and I opened up my iPad, and I just sort of lost it. And I've known Tony since he started playing baseball at SDSU in 1979. And I knew him through a lot of things, through his days as a player here, obviously, and as a coach at SDSU. So it was just very difficult. The rest of the tests for the day were terrible, and I wish I wasn't there. But I knew he was ill. I just didn't think his death was that imminent.
You know, Ron, a lot of people, and Tony put a smile on a lot of our faces for many reasons and many ways. Is there a moment that you saw Tony on the baseball field that really put a smile on your face, and one of those moments that sticks out to you?
You know, Mark, there were too many to really pick one. I think the first time I saw him at SDSU playing baseball, Jim Dietz, someone I've known for years, his predecessor there, and Jim sort of called up. He said, "You got to see this guy. You got to see this guy." And I came over, and it's like, here's this thin guy that just looked like a natural, and it was like, wow, is this guy going to be good? And then you get the story about he was there playing basketball, and if it wasn't for the change of basketball coaches, he might have been able to play baseball. So from that time on, nothing has surprised me as to Tony Gwynn and what he's been able to accomplish on and off the field.
Tony leaves behind so many wonderful memories for a lot of people. You talk about the smile and the laughter, but for Ron, what sticks out for you? What will you take with you personally?
Well, he was an iconic athlete, but really he was even a nicer human being. That's been said. I have a quick story that I had lunch with a friend of mine who's a baseball player, and his father was very close to Stan Musial, and so was he. So when Stan came out after the 7th batting title, he and Tony got together, and they're sitting on these little chairs, stools, I guess you'd call them, and they're talking about baseball. And the guy said he was a little far away, but he said he's listening to him, and all of a sudden he heard him talk a little loud. Can you believe that Ted Williams actually guessed? And here's Musial and Gwynn, who never guessed in their life. They just got up there and hit anything that was thrown at them. But to talk about the splendid splinter in that way, it was just blew me away, and I'd forgotten the story until he told me again today.
Ball 2 strikes to Cabrera, fouled away. So you have the plan for next Thursday, and the gates will be open at 5:30. You anticipate, I would assume, a pretty full ballpark here, and very generous of the organization to offer the free parking to those who are needing to use that. As I would imagine the week progresses, we'll start learning more of the details of the things that you have planned.
Yes, we will figure out who the speakers are. We will get the family to sign off, but we will have some of the senior leadership from baseball here, from the Major League Baseball. We'll have friends and people who played with Tony, and I think the speakers will be very meaningful to the family, very meaningful to the community. And I think it will be very much like Jerry. We'll find the right people.
I know it's a very tough time, not only for you, everybody in the organization, and clearly a lot of planning to go into next Thursday's event. So we appreciate you taking a few moments to spend with us.
Well, thanks, guys. We need to send him off the way he deserves it, and I think that's going to be a challenge for the organization that we're up to.
Honoring the legend tonight, Tony Gwynn left us way too soon. Andrew Cashner to face Logan Morrison, Mike Zunino, and Dustin Ackley here in the top of the 6th inning. Cashner now at 69 pitches. That's number 70. And it's a strike taken by Morrison. 1-0 ball game here in the top of the 6th. Mariners scoring in the 2nd inning. RBI single by the shortstop, Brad Miller.
Now those are two beautiful pitches. Change up and backing it up with a fastball on the inside edge to Morrison. He tried to jump on the first pitch fastball last at bat.
Cashner quickly ahead, 0-2. Ball wrapped through to right field. 0-2 pitch cut off before it hits the wall, but Morrison, pretty good wheels. Into second with a double. So first hit by Morrison. As we check out our Fan Diego fans of the game. Everybody is a Fan Diego fan of the game tonight, especially those of you who at the time chose to wear number 19, celebrating the life of Tony Gwynn. One thing to be a great ball player, far more important to be the man he was, touching so many.
Well, I loved what Ron Fowler said about the celebration and having a celebration. A lot to celebrate with Tony Gwynn, and it's not just on the baseball field.
Pitch gets past Rivera, and Morrison will trot down to third base.
You see some frustration on Rene Rivera. He needs to catch that. I don't know if his glove broke or not. These are some of those mistakes that have happened and crept in. And when you talk about the tough way, the mentality of this game, how mentally strong you have to stay within yourself, pitch by pitch. So many things, and this game can be trying at times. You see the infield pulling in, middle infield trying to cut that run down. They know the importance with Felix Hernandez on the mound of limiting those runs.
Another strike to the catcher Zunino. Zunino hit by a pitch and singled tonight. Well, the struggles of the Padres have been well chronicled. 1-7 on the road trip. Philly, the Mets, and the Mariners. A mile high. Back goes Cabrera. In comes DeNorfia. DeNorfia will take it. And Morrison has to stay put at third base. One down. Well, as we promised earlier in the game, we do have that AT&T fan photo of the ball game. I want you to tweet your photo to hashtag #SDFanPhoto. A chance for it to be shown in an upcoming game broadcast. Brought to you by AT&T. Mariliana, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Thank you for sending in yours.
Now, Mike, let's go back to the last play because they were playing in the infield in, and Everett Cabrera does a nice job. He's calling for it, and Chris DeNorfia gets him out of the way. That's the outfielder's ball. It's priority, but knowing and having the awareness of them playing in to try to cut that run down. Chris DeNorfia making a nice play.
So infield still tight as Ackley fouls it away.
Now, this is when you have the benefit of being a strikeout pitcher like Andrew Cashner is. Sometimes you might want to reach back. These are moments in the game that you have to limit the opportunities, and Dustin Ackley has shown in his career that he will get out of the strike zone. And that's a pitch that Andrew Cashner wanted. He spotted it on that outside edge, down and away.
At 97 miles an hour. Third start since coming off the disabled list for Cashner. His 12th start on the year.
Yeah, nice pitch. Down and away, up and in. Very difficult to get the barrel on top of the baseball. This is what I love about Andrew Cashner. He can dial it in, 97 miles an hour. Remember, when he was coming out of the bullpen, He had triple digits in that arm.
Yeah, so when he moved to the rotation, he's going to take a little something off, going to like 93 to 95.
Yeah, and you know what? He's had the two-seam success, and let's see what he goes to here. Maybe that slider down and in.
Sharply hit. And Marista able to glove it. Nice play. Just to knock it down. Ball was hit pretty well. And Morrison has to freeze at third base. 2 down.
You got to marvel at how the hands work for middle infielders in the Major League Baseball. And that ball was a shot off the bat. And watch how Alexi Amarista has that reaction across his body, knocking it down and keeping Zunino, who does not have very good speed, at third base. And he loves it. Yeah. Very emotional guy on the mound, and I love that.
So with 2 outs and Logan Morrison at third base.
Excuse me, Logan Morrison. I said Zunino. I apologize.
Brad Miller going to get the free pass after a couple of singles, including the RBI, with the pitcher, Felix Hernandez, waiting on deck.
Just how Andrew Kashner dials up that hard fastball. For those situations where those frontline starters know how to get out of trouble. And in the National League, you get to pitch against the opposing pitcher in big situations.
They got to feel this will play to Andrew Kashner's advantage, certainly, as Felix Hernandez didn't have a lot of at-bats in his career. He's 34. And as you mentioned, Mark, every run at a premium tonight.
Let's see if he goes to the breaking ball early.
Just tap. Kashner going to take it and toss it over to first base. Retire Hernandez. So the intentional walk pays off. The leadoff double by Morrison moves over to third on the pass ball, and he's left standing there getting some help from Alexi Amarista and his defense. Padres trail 1-0.
Life, not just in a baseball player, but the way he carried himself, the way he gave back to the community. He was awe-inspiring, and it's.
Well, he just represents what can happen when you work hard and you give yourself to something, you pour yourself out to something, and what the heights you can meet.
He was just an awesome man, you know. Ball player aside, he was a good man, and it's finally hitting home being here.
Tony Gwynn, truly influential in the San Diego community. He is someone that, as I got a chance to talk to people, they mentioned his laugh, his demeanor, the way he was always willing to do something for somebody else. It's truly incredible, the legacy he has left here in San Diego. Mike and Mark, back up to you guys.
Kate, 100% correct, I think, by every fan. The way you feel is the way you feel, and we certainly respect that, as Tony had respected all of you. Die-hard Padre fan as they'd ever come was Tony Gwynn.
Yep. True and true. 20 years in the same uniform.
Alexi Amarista, pitcher spot. Seth Smith face Hernandez here in the bottom of the 6th inning. And I say that because there was a day he was up in the booth with us, and a young man came up, asked for an autograph. And he hollers up in the booth, and he says, Tony, sign this. And Tony looks over at him. And
I know where you're going with this.
He says, what? Sign this. The kid hollers at him. He says, you forgetting something? And the kid just keeps barking, sign this. Finally, one of the grown-ups who was with the child whispers in the kid's ear, and then he says, I meant, please sign this, Mr. Gwynn. And he turns out that he goes ahead and he says, you'll have to hand me a piece of paper, young man. And he says, but I'd like you to sign my hat. And the young man was wearing a Yankees hat. And that's why I say he's a diehard Padres fan. Tony would not sign that other hat.
Well, what he would do with kids is he'd tell them to turn their hat around while he signed the autograph. But he always asked please and thank yous. And he understood manners. He taught lessons. And that was one of the greatest things that he did. And he was so good with children. You can see some of those accolades there. Pretty amazing. And hitting 400 or better against 8 different Cy Young Award winners. I told you about the big parts of the games.
Diving play by Miller at short. Pulls the first baseman Morrison off the bag, and Amarista's aboard.
And there's the 5.5 hole. Here we go.
Second hit of the night by the Padres.
Yeah, staying inside the baseball. Good things happen. Nice try by Miller and better effort by Alexi Amarista going the other way, staying inside it and making things happen. Here's that 5.5 hole. He used to wear it out. He's a magician with the bat. But like Merv Retman said tonight, he knew how to pull the ball. He knew how to hit it everywhere. He found grass.
Of all the numbers that we just shown, having struck out fewer than 20 times in 6 straight seasons is amazing. And then fans, consider this. Last month in the big leagues, 97 hitters struck out at least 20 times. In last month alone.
Yeah. People don't worry about the strikeout anymore in the game. He took a lot of pride in it.
Andrew Kashner squares the bunt.
Oh, just a perfect scenario for the San Diego Padres. Pitcher spot open. The bunt play is on. And now it's all about execution for Andrew Kashner and Alexi Amarista.
So the leadoff single in the game by Seth Smith, and then Hernandez would retire 15 in a row before Amarista's infield hit. Kashner once it foul.
Well, it's not easy to swing off Felix Hernandez, but also very difficult to square and try to lay a bunt down where you have to try to direct it.
Bottom hand up, even on the bobblehead. The statuette. Amarista back. It's a battle of two pitchers who do not get much run support. Andrew Kashner coming into this game 2-6, ERA barely 2.5. He squares the bunt. He lays this one down. Over to Cano, who's covering first base. He does the job. And Alexei Amarista moves over to second base.
Just execution for Andrew Kashner and putting it in the right hands. Felix Hernandez, very good athlete off the mound. And putting in the hands of Logan Morrison, who is not necessarily known for his defense. And you can see just put down there, Logan Morrison just wanted to get the out at first base. Perfect execution, bunting the top of the baseball and putting it on the ground, helping himself out. Nice job, Andrew Kashner.
Now it's up to Seth Smith. Give Andrew Kashner and the Padres a lift. Seth with a hit and a strikeout. Tied for the team lead with 6 home runs.
Well, that really shows the success that Seth Smith has had. That 2-strike breaking ball with an 0-0 count. Trying to bury that breaking ball, trying to get Seth Smith to get out of the strike zone. You can see the shift. 3 guys in the middle of the field. Seeing a commonplace in Major League Baseball.
Right into the shift. It's Cano up with it. Smith retired, 2 down. Well, you're right. We are seeing more and more of that. And I think Baltimore leads baseball with that notion.
Well, there's different shifts. You're seeing shortstops move over on the right side. You're seeing the third baseman move over. But all it is about graphs and where that ground ball is going to go. And typically a lot of teams will take those last 100 ground balls that each individual hits. And that'll determine the defense configuration.
Big moment here for Chris Denorfia. Denorfia 0 for 2. Came into the game hitting .249.
Well, those numbers are the reason why you love Chris Denorfia. And he needs a big hit right here, not only for himself, but the club.
That may work just as well as the pitch kicks away from the catcher, Zunino, and in comes Alexei Amarista. We're tied at 1.
Well, you go back to the execution of Andrew Kashner and laying down that sacrifice bunt. Might not be meaningful right now, but Seth Smith gets him over and then burying that pitch in the ground, and Zunino did not have a chance on that ball. Padres tie it up.
Any way you can get it done, especially against Hernandez. And the offense has had such trouble getting it going. So the infield hit by Amarista results in a run.
Well, watching Felix Hernandez tonight, you got to pick a spot on the outside edge and adjust inside. Sometimes you have to give a pitcher something, and looks like he has mastered that outside edge. See if the Padres adjust.
Bouncing ball to Miller. It's short. And they'll get Denorfia. But the Padres able to scratch out a run. Tie this at 1, courtesy of the bounce away pitch that Zunino couldn't handle. Fox Sports San Diego presents Padres baseball by Sequan Casino. Real friendly, real close. By Jack in the Box. Head in for the new Jalapeno Ranch or Barbecue Ultimate Cheeseburgers. And by Aramco Group. Purchase, refinance, reverse. Visit us at aramco.biz. 1-1 ball game now. Tonight we honor Tony Gwynn. Statue out there at the park Flowers, mementos. A tough goodbye to Mr. Padre. Top of the 7th inning. Leadoff hitter for the Mariners, Endy Chavez, out to right field. It'll be Seth Smith putting it away. 1 down. And a quick reminder, I should say another reminder, that next Thursday there will be a memorial service here at Petco Park at 7:19 p.m. Gates open at 5:30. Team is off that day. Ron Fowler, part of the ownership group, on with us earlier, said it will be a celebration of Tony's life, his accomplishments, and contributions to the team, to the city, and to the sport of baseball.
A good changeup by Andrew Cashner, settling into this game as Joaquin Benoit gets loose in the bullpen.
Cashner been able to scatter 7 hits through 6 1/3. He's walked 2, he struck out 2. And he's locked in a good one with Felix Hernandez. Line drive center field. Kristen Orfia. 2 down. Mariners scored a run in the 2nd. Mike Zunino is hit by a pitch. Driven in by Brad Miller, the shortstop. Padres would answer in the bottom of the 6th inning. Alexi Amarista, an infield single. Moved over on a sacrifice bunt. Wild pitch. He would score 1-1. And just a reminder, tribute to Tony will follow Padres Live, the post-game show tonight. Interviews with a lot of the players and coaches and fans, all touched by Tony Gwynn's life. Robinson Cano with 2 outs. And Marista backing up. Over to Grandal. 3 up, 3 down. Mariners go quietly. We've got a good ball game here on the night we honor Tony. It's 1-1. Nissan game summary as we head to the bottom of the 7th inning. RBI base hit, Brad Miller. Get the Mariners on the board in the top of the 2nd inning. But then Alexi Amarista would find his way aboard this infield hit in the bottom of the 6th. Andrew Cashner would help his own cause. The sacrifice bunt moves Alexi over to second. Seth Smith pulls the ball over to Robinson Cano. So with Alexi on third, little help from Felix Hernandez. Off-speed pitch into the ground. Gets past the catcher. We're tied at 1. Quinton retired for the first out here in the bottom of the 7th. Andrew Cashner, 7 innings, 7 hits, Mark. Just the 1 run, couple of walks, couple of strikeouts.
Yeah, great effort by Aaron Cashner. Like you said, Mike, he has scattered 7 hits for the Mariners. To go back to that top of the 6th and bearing down with Logan Morrison on third base, getting out of the inning. That was big.
Here's Chase Headley. Hernandez has struck out 9 as you see the shift employed by Seattle. Pair of strikeouts for Chase.
Much easier to put the shift on with a guy like Felix Hernandez because of location.
A great job by the organization, in particular Luke Yoder and his staff, the grounds crew here at Petco.
What a great job they do.
Putting the numbers 19 behind home plate, also in right field. And spotlighted over the center field wall. It's Tony's night.
Well, thank you to those guys that make this playing surface the best in baseball by far. So number 19 goes out there.
I'm going back to that conversation we had earlier with the former Padres hitting coach, worked so much with Tony Gwynn, and yourself included, Merv Retman. And there's that common belief that Tony would really work a count before he'd slash that signature base hit in the 5.5 hole between third and short. As Chase Headley with firm line drive into center field for a base hit. His first hit tonight. Third for the Padres. And it's something of a misconception that Tony worked the count so well.
And he liked going deep in the count. And you take a look at the swing of Chase Headley and getting his foot down, controlling that head and staying inside the baseball. It's a beautiful swing. See that, those hands working inside the baseball, much like Tony Gwynn talks about. Palm up, palm down, serving into center field. Make number 19 proud.
Here's Yasmani Grandal. Yasmani 0 for 2. Fly out, strikeout. And Merv Retman would say, too, he would take that first pitch, hit the second one, because he didn't want to lead the league in fewest pitches seen. That's why he'd take the first pitch.
Yeah, and you know what, Mike, too? Merv Retman talked about him backing the ball up, Tony Gwynn. Well, he always said you back that ball up with your eyes, your vision. And Tony Gwynn's vision was second to none in my estimation. They talk about his hitting exploits. Well, it starts with that, controlling your head and being able to hit the ball where it's pitched.
Some of that fine work by Luke Yoder and his crew just behind home plate. Here's the 2-1 to Grandal. And he swings through the Hernandez offering. Count now even. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
You know, Mike, you talk about Luke Yoder and his staff, and Tony Gwynn was always in the dugout talking with those guys, and some of them were over at Qualcomm, came over here. You know, Tony spread that word everywhere because he understood it wasn't just Tony Gwynn, it was all the parts.
Bounce it at first for 1, over to second. Very close play. Very close play.
Well, they're making an explanation here for a foul ball that the home plate umpire, Trip Gibson, called foul ball, and you can hear it. Here's the foul ball. Right off that front foot. Chase Headley needed the explanation because he was sitting on second base.
Two. And it's strike three. Strikeout number 10 for Felix Hernandez.
Setting our keys to the game, multiple ways to strike you out. You can see that breaking ball on the outside edge. Easy to give up on that because of the break. Out of the hands, it looks like it's going to be a ball and dips right into the strike zone. Oh, Rene Rivera had a home run up in Seattle the other day.
There goes Headley. Throw down from Zunino. And Headley underneath it for a stolen base.
Mike, you got to take chances when you have Felix Hernandez on the mound. 2 outs, ideal situation for Chase Headley to take an opportunity. He gets a good break.
Second stolen base of the year for Chase. 2 outs, now the runner in scoring position for Rivera. That home run you were talking about from Rivera.
Yeah, what a swing. Dropping the barrel on the baseball. Had to feel very good for Rene Rivera. He played in the Mariners uniform. Just a cup of coffee with them. But a picture perfect swing and a home run. He's got it in him.
And that home run, the only run of the game yesterday for the Padres. Charlie Furbush getting loose in the Mariners bullpen. Bouncing ball right at the third baseman Seager across to retire Rivera. Headley single at stolen base. Left stranded. We are tied at 1.
Tied at 1 in the top of the 8th. I'm out here by the Tony Gwynn statue at Park in the Park as fans continue to pay tribute to the great Tony Gwynn. And if you haven't gotten a chance to come out here, please do and read the notes and all the messages that they have for Tony Gwynn. It's really amazing. Also, if you get a chance, next Thursday, June 26th, 7:19 p.m., 1919. military time. Come out and celebrate the life of Tony Gwynn as the Padres have a memorial for him here at Petco Park again next Thursday, June 26th. Coming up on Padres Live, the postgame show presented by Cox Communications. We'll continue to look back on this magical night at Petco Park, and we'll also hear from Buddy Black. We'll break down this great pitching matchup and more coming up on Padres Live, the postgame show. Mike and Mark, back to you.
Chris, thank you very much. We'll see you after the final out tonight. Just a reminder on that memorial next Thursday here at Petco that Chris was talking about. Gates open at 5:30. There's free parking, 3 spots. A couple of those surface lots along Imperial. The C lot, tailgate lot on the southeast side of Petco. And then the Padres Parkade Garage on 10th Avenue and J Street. Certainly hope you get a chance to come out there. It is an off day for the team. They'll come back from their brief trip to play the Giants. Kyle Seager retired, 1 down here in the 8th. As Joaquin Benoit takes over for Andrew Cashner, our Drew Ford pitching change.
You can see the 2-0 record with the great ERA, a 1.52 ERA. Walks are down, strikeouts are up. 35 strikeouts in 29 2/3. That's good showing for Joaquin Benoit.
Last time out on the 14th against the Mets. Scoreless inning, a couple of strikeouts. But nobody hits Benoit. Not lefties, not righties. Lefties hitting 167, righties 151. Logan Morrison had a double, was left stranded in the 6th. Saw a little bit of Morrison with the Marlins.
Now good power on the bat. And I think moving forward, as we can see the lineup for the Mariners tonight, a lot of left-handed bats. A little bit easier to manage against these left-handed bats. I think also with Robinson Cano, we heard in the spring training, they're going to have to try to find a right-handed bat to protect him. Corey Hart was brought in to help. He is on the shelf.
Yeah, for Lloyd McClendon, first 5 hitters in his order tonight left-handed. There's that filthy off-speed pitch, that Fosh ball, change-up. Benoit style. Hope to see you tomorrow as the series wraps up. 3 o'clock, Padres Live, the pregame show.
Yeah, and off that Fosh comes the 96-mile-an-hour fastball. It's a huge differential. You got to pick your poison, and it's very difficult to stay off of that fastball with that velocity.
Morrison hanging tough. 1 ball, 2 strikes. You spent much of your career as a pinch hitter, and you come in these specialized situations. You got a guy with that type of differential. What's the approach there?
Well, these are the guys that you dig in and you try not to foul pitches off. So if you get to 2 strikes, you know they have that put away pitch. It makes it very difficult to square up. Nice job by Rivera dropping his knees down and blocking that pitch as he winces as they get a new ball.
They call them the tools of ignorance. The helmet, the chest protector.
Yeah, I think that missed all the tools.
Whew. Shaking it off. If anybody who grew up and said, yeah, I want to be a catcher, I think it's the same kid who grew up and said, I want to be an umpire. I want to be yelled at for a living. Rivera's a good one. So often you build these pitchers duels and they don't quite live up to the hype. But tonight, good ball game thrown by each starting pitcher. Andrew Kashner, Felix Hernandez. First time the Padres have been at home since the passing of the legend Tony Gwynn. Passed away on Monday at the age of 54.
Oh.
Unbelievable is Joaquin Benoit. Logan Morrison down to a knee.
That was a frisbee. You talk about the Fosh, you talk about the fastball velocity, and then you get this slider out of the hands of Benoit. Ties up Morrison and knots him down to his knee.
How about that for a humbling experience?
So many of those late inning relievers have those 2-pitch mix. Maybe a third pitch you can try to eliminate. Wow.
Opens him up with the changeup, the Fosh. Mike Zunino hit by a pitch, a single, and a fly out. It's Felix Hernandez. Looks on.
There's that slider again, almost a cutting action on that one. So many weapons to get you out with. Location, command, and command of all pitches.
Advantage Benoit. Here's the 0-2. ...2010 Cy Young Award winner, Felix Hernandez. Won that award with a 13-12 record. And down goes Zunino. Benoit, filthy, gets Seager, then strikes out Morrison and Zunino. Flat nasty. The good fastball, the Fosh, the breaking ball. We're tied at 1. Fox Sports San Diego presents Padres Baseball by Southwest Airlines. Find Southwest Airlines fares online only at southwest.com. By Petco, the power of together. And by your San Diego Lexus dealer. Gorgeous Wednesday night as we honor the legend Tony Gwynn. Statue at the park. A flood of flowers and memories, as it has been since Monday when the tragic news came across that Tony Gwynn is gone at 54. Our hearts and prayers out to the Gwynn family. Alicia, his wife, and children. 1-1 ball game.
Well, here's Charlie Furbush coming out of the pen as we see the left-hander, more fastballs, slider, and a curveball. More sliders to the left-handers than fastballs. And this guy's not the velocity guy. Gets up to 93, but pitches right around 90, 91 for the fastball.
It'll be Cabrera, Amarista, and a 9th spot in the order to face Furbush here in the bottom of the 8th. We'd mentioned how neither Felix Hernandez nor Andrew Kasher had gotten much run support. Mark, now for the 38th time in Hernandez's career, he has surrendered 1 run or less and not gotten a decision.
Now that can get frustrating, but you got to put up zeros, continue to put up zeros.
Mike Trussell, our statistician, handed me that note. I had to take a second to pause and just check with him. That's the most among active major league pitchers. 38 times. Padres trying to hang a loss on the Mariners.
I do not know how Everett Cabrera got out of the way of this pitch.
He jumped like a cat. Like a standing vertical of 3 feet.
Let's take a look at how he gets out of the way there. And he follows the ball into the catcher's mitt.
Got to track the ball, Mark. Who knows better than you?
That was awesome.
Everett hitting toward the bottom of the lineup tonight. And he shoots this ball down the right field line and foul.
Well, you've seen Everett Cabrera recently make a conscious effort of hitting the ball the other way, especially from the left side. It's a nice swing right there, just foul.
Buddy Black trying to mix things up a little bit, put Everett down in the order. The on-base percentage for Everett coming into action today, just .260, well below the league average. Sits right around .310, .320. So Seth Smith at the top of the order tonight.
Now you see our Seth Smith looking on, understanding he's going to be in a big situation.
Anything to get a little offense.
Well, that offense starts with Everett Cabrera getting on base. See our Fox tracks by Southland Technology. Balls all over the strike zone.
Both of these bullpens been very good this season. Mariners and the Padres. High chopper. No play for the Mariners. That ball up there a bit off the bounce over the head of Furbush. Kyle Seager gave it a look. Didn't pick it up, but I don't think he had a play here anyway.
Well, watch Furbush here. He actually looks like he's going to make a play on this, and I don't know if the communication was from Seager, and they're frustrated. Only opportunity is Furbush fielding that.
Well, that'll bring up Alexi Amarista, who made our Bill Howe play of the game. Little heads up base running. Ball kicks away from the catcher, Mike Zunino. Tying run, and Alexi Amarista come across the score in the bottom of the 6th. So Alexi, the Bill Howe play of the game. Chance to be the Carl's Jr. star if he can do something here, maybe. Furbush inside.
Yeah, Furbush looks like he's trying to hit the bull. He is all over the place. Arms, limbs going everywhere. And that is not a comfortable bunting position for Alexi Amarista. He does his best Keanu Reeves imitation of getting out of the way with the matrix.
Don't dig in. 1 ball, no strikes. Hunted right back at Furbush. Cano covering. Nice job getting it down.
Well, why not? Bunt it right back to the pitcher. That opportunity, have that pitcher uncomfortable throwing to bases. Just very good execution. When in doubt, bunt it to the pitcher. Let them put it in their hands. They're used to driving their legs off of a pitching rubber, not throwing the bases.
So Buddy Black goes to the bench. Tommy Medica, the pinch hitter. And the Mariners will talk things over. Pitching coach Rick Waits. Both starters, Mark, getting it done as advertised. Each man having got 7 innings, 3 hits allowed by Felix Hernandez, 7 by Cashner. This guy allowing just 1 run.
Just impressed by Felix Hernandez and what he did tonight. But you look at Andrew Cashner's body of work and going back to that 6th inning and battling to get out of that tough situation with Logan Morrison at third base. Great pitching duel, and like you said, Mike, well advertised.
So Tommy Medica, 4 for 16 as a pinch hitter. Medica has 3 home runs on the year, none as a pinch hitter.
Well, for Tommy Medica, a lot of young hitters will try to get too big in situations like this. Going to try to shorten your swing. All you need is a single. So many times that thought creeps in of energy's picking up in the building, and I try to get a little too big. And foul balls are not good in this situation.
Make the swing slower?
Yeah, and you slow up, you tense up, your body tenses up. Relax your body and use the middle of the field.
0-1. And Furbush will look back Cabrera.
Like these Padre hitters love working early, doing stuff in the cages, working on your routine. Now you have to trust that routine. See the ball, hit it.
One out, one on here at the bottom of the 8th. Big at bat for the young Tommy Medica. Well, Cano playing close by anyway.
They want to keep that runner close. Give those outfielders opportunity on a single to possibly throw him out at the plate. I don't think Furbush wants to throw to any base right now.
Furbush uncomfortable. He'll call out Mike Zunino, the catcher. Another conversation for the Mariners.
Well, anytime, Mike, that you're held on as a base runner, you want to try to work your secondary lead and be a little more aggressive. You can shorten your lead at first and then try to get that big secondary lead, get in that good position where you can read the ball off the bat. And for Everett Cabrera, he's got to be careful of that ball in the dirt, try to advance on those.
Well, we saw Alexi Amarista score on a wild pitch. And it's 0-2 now to Medica. Now you mentioned the work they put in. Saw Tommy out here taking early batting practice off Phil Plantier, the hitting coach.
Phil Plantier, Alonzo Powell, tireless working. They're not giving up, trusting the process of what these young men are trying to develop.
Diamondbacks beat the Brewers today 4-3. Giants lost to the White Sox 7-6. And the Dodgers lead the Rockies 8-0 in the 7th.
You see Robinson Cano, the second baseman, all over second base and keeping Everett Cabrera close to second. That squares up Everett Cabrera on the back.
It's a high-risk play. There's not a lot of upside unless you know you've got it out there.
Yeah, this will slow you down just a little bit. That does not feel good.
The 0-2. Wrap foul.
Well, like Tony Gwynn always says, try to see it long out of his hands. You got to be ready for the fastball and respect the fastball and react to that breaking ball. A lot of hitters will spread out to their stride position, try to eliminate some movement so they can see it longer.
Cano still holding the runner Cabrera close at second.
Yeah, the crowd doesn't like it, but Zunino wants to get on the same page as Furbush. Maybe a reminder, you can bury that breaking ball. He's done a nice job blocking balls behind the plate.
Padres dropping the first two of the series in Seattle. Sure nice to hang one on the Mariners tonight, especially with their ace Felix Hernandez going. Opportunity to drive in a run for Tommy Medica.
Yeah, this is a cat and mouse game right here. Tommy Medica calling timeout, making sure he's ready, stepping into that batter's box. It's time for a big hit for the Pods.
Lefty on righty. Here's the 0-2. Into center field, charging hard comes Jones. It's going to fall. Around comes Cabrera. Here's the throw home, way off line. Tommy Medica, the go-ahead RBI. Everett Cabrera brings home the lead run. It's a 2-1 ball game.
Well, Mike, we talked about the big hit, and with 2 strikes, you have to go down and get the ball. You got to get outside the strike zone off the end of the bat, and Tommy Medica cashes in. It's a big hit. The Padres have been looking, and you take a look at Everett Cabrera. He does not get a break off second base, and he puts his head down. Credit Hoffman for winding him up. He understands how hard it is to score some runs. Big hit by Medica.
Huge at bat for the youngster. We get to the top of the lineup. Here's Seth Smith.
Energy in the building.
Houston Street getting loose. He's been perfect this year. It saves. 18 for 18. But these fans have waited so long to see the payoff from all this work. Cabrera scoring on the hit by Medica.
Yeah, and pushing the right buttons for Buddy Black. Using Tommy Medica, a young hitter, in a big situation and coming up big for his manager and his club. Mike, I credit Glenn Hoffman, the third base coach. He goes unnoticed at times. Tremendous third base coach. And came up big in that situation, sending Cabrera.
Here's the 1-2. Outside, count now even. 2 balls, 2 strikes. And to your point, Glenn Hoffman hasn't had a lot of opportunity to crank that arm around much.
That was a tough read by Everett Cabrera, and he hesitated at times. Some third base coaches will hold you up because they're timid over there. Glenn Hoffman very aggressive, and to the Padres' credit. Yeah, let's take a look at Everett Cabrera coming off. This is a tough read. You can see that hesitation. And Glenn Hoffman reading the ball. Nice job all around by the Padres.
Now, you mentioned it before. This team needs to take some risks. Coming off a 1-7 road trip. Station to station won't get it done. So the Padres lead now 2-1. And the bottom of the 8th. It was so nice to see Everett laying flowers at the Tony Gwynn statue at the park earlier today and scoring the go-ahead run. Again out to center field. Jones has a beat on it. 2 down. Nothing Tommy Medica can do there. And Lloyd McClendon head out to the mound. Mariners talk things over enough in that half, but the Padres defy the conversations and the discussions, score the go-ahead run. Pitching change. Padres lead 2-1. Ball game as we take a look at the Southwest Airlines Military Spotlight. Always a big thank you to the men and women who serve this country. Number 19, Tony Gwynn, being honored tonight. Always in our hearts. The Colonel Jerry Coleman passed away this past offseason. Military Spotlight, the Jerry Coleman Broadcast Center. Mark Sweeney and Mike Pomeranz with you. We miss number 19 for so many reasons, as a player, as a man, and an absolute pleasure in the broadcast booth.
Yeah, unbelievable. And they're together again and probably sitting down having some conversations right now.
Pretty sure they'd be talking headed.
Yeah, they would. As we see Medina coming in, a fastball slider combination, command problems at times. High velocity guy, mid-90s fastball.
Chris Denorfia to face Medina. Padres use a little bit of insurance. Tommy Medica out there at second base. Oh, if you're tuning in late, been a great ball game. Felix Hernandez against Andrew Kashner. Each pitcher went 7 innings. Each allowed just 1 run. And Tommy Medica would drive in Everett Cabrera, make it a 2-1 ball game. Bouncer, it's going to be Miller tested. Well, he tries to get behind Medica there at third. He had no play really on Denorfia. So another infield hit for the Padres. First hit of the night for Chris Denorfia.
Let's take a look at Chris Denorfia hitting that 5.5 hole. Miller doing a nice job. He throws behind the runner. I see Glenn Hoffman pointing at the bag to stay. Third base. As the runner from second base, you have to peek at that play, see if it's made, and stay on third base. Glenn Hoffman runs in, gives him some help. Nice hit by Chris Denorfia.
That'll bring up Carlos Quentin. Carlos 0 for 3. Chance to be a difference maker right here.
I've seen Carlos Quentin on the pull side hit the home run the other night in Seattle, but a lot of pull swings, especially on the infield. That tells me his legs aren't underneath him. Right there, just getting out of the strike zone.
Zunino, the catcher for the Mariners, been active. Between Hernandez and Furbush, now Medina. A lot of short hops for the catcher to handle. Seager, the Mariners' third baseman, hugging the line. Miller shading toward third, the shortstop, and Cano almost straight up the middle, just to the right field side of second base. The runner and the 1-2 to Quentin. Taken from ball 2. Denorfia down at second base.
I think Medina wanted that pitch, and that ball was elevated. Our pitch tracks by Fox Tracks by Southland Technology had as a strike. See if Carlos Quentin capitalizes on that break.
Medica at third, Denorfia at second. Medina wanted that one as well. And the count now full. Houston Street stretching it out. It'll be his ball game. And the ninth. Back at home plate, Zunino will look it into the seats.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the San Diego Padres and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the San Diego Padres.
See if Carlos gets a pitch he can drive. And he wraps his ball at the shortstop. Tough play. And he's He's able to fire over to first base. It's Miller to Morrison, and Quinton is gone. But as Houston Street prepares for a save opportunity, Tommy Medica, the big pinch hit RBI single. The Padres lead 2-1. Special night here at Petco, and what certainly promises to be a special celebration of Tony Gwynn's life. Thursday, June 26th at 7:19 for number 19. That's 1919 in military time. 5:30 is when the gates will open. 7:19 when the service and ceremony will start to celebrate Tony's life and his legacy. Honoring Tony Gwynn tonight. Fans wearing the number 19, 19 behind the plate in the clay, 19 in right field. And Houston Street looking to record his 19th save.
Yeah, Houston Street's last time out was Saturday against the New York Mets, where he pitched 1 inning, only 1 hit, 3 strikeouts. Cameron Maben takes over in center field.
Face 7-8-9 is Ackley, bounces this ball to Cabrera. Throw on run in time. Dale Scott, first base umpire, punts him out. Ackley gone, 1 down.
Well, this was an extremely difficult play by Everett Cabrera, because this ball is hit off the end of the bat. You can see the distance that Everett has to go, and he does not get a good grip on that ball, but that strong arm just gets him in time. Outstanding play by the shortstop of the Padres.
Close. And take another look at it as Lloyd McClendon requests a review. The Mariners had burned their opportunity early, but you can go out and ask for one. You just can't demand it at this point.
I think the umpires understand that this is a tough part of the game, a 2-1 ball game. Just a tremendous play by Everett Cabrera.
Go out there, use your best manners, and try to convince the umpires to take another look at it. So it is an official challenge as dictated by the umpires on the field, not demanded by Lloyd McClendon.
You can see Dale Scott, the crew chief. A good stretch by Yasmani Grandal. To me, that looks like an out. This shouldn't take that long.
It certainly looks like he got him, but you can't fault McClendon for trying in a 2-1 ball game. And they check it out. Call stands. Ackley, the first out. Here in the top of the 9th inning. Nice play, Everth Cabrera. So with 1 out, that'll bring up the Mariners shortstop, Brad Miller. Miller drove in the Mariners' only run tonight. RBI single in the 2nd inning.
Here's the last 3 outings by Houston Street. Typically 1 innings, but I like that New York Mets. 3 Ks, no walks. He understands the importance of this game, the emotional attachment to what we've all gone through. Trying to lock down his number 19th save.
The 0-2 to Miller. Down low, ball 1. Boy, with the number 19 so prominently featured tonight, just seemed to be in the cards for Houston this evening.
You can see from our Foxtrot by Southland Technology, he's going to have to try to hit out of the strike zone.
But since 2012, 96% of the games he has had an opportunity to save, he's converted.
Yeah, the model of consistency. He does it the unconventional way of a closer.
And a nice job as he'll punch out Brad Miller. 2 down here in the 9th. It was a 1-1 ball game until Tommy Medica stepped up with a man on. Gets just enough of this one to drive in Everth Cabrera. The go-ahead run. Bottom of the 8th inning, Tommy Medica, our Carl's Jr. star of the game. Houston Street trying to save this now for Andrew Kashner, who put in his 14th consecutive home start, allowing 2 earned runs or fewer. That ties a club record. Here's John Buck. Kashner won't figure in the decision, but sure did put up a wonderful outing against the ace of the Mariners staff, Felix Hernandez. Buck out to right center field, lazy fly ball. DeNorfia under it, and he puts it away, and the Padres on Tony Gwynn's night win 2-1. Houston Street, his 19th save, as we honored number 19. A job well done all around for the Padres. Let's go out to Chris Button for what's coming up on Padres Live.